We know the political motivation. What's the ideological motivation of the left and their open borders and Mayorkas opening everything up? What's driving this deep down?
Well, look, we've discussed this previously. We live in the most perverse of times in the last 2,000 years of Western civilization. And this isn't uniquely American, we see this in the UK, we see this in other parts of the world, where we have an elite that utterly detests the countries of which they are the rulers. We have think of, from Kamala Harris raising bail money for BLM to giving billions of dollars to those who wish to destroy us, such as the mullahs in Iran. These people are such hostages to their own ideology that they facilitate the destruction of the civilization that has given them their rights, their prosperity, their freedoms. The left, I wrote a piece for AMAC, and it's on my Substack, sebastiangorka.substack.com, and it's based upon a realization I had on my radio show about 3 years ago that the labels left and right are meaningless. The taxonomy of Republican and Democrat, just jettison it, just delete the old categories of politics. Why? Because there's only one dividing line that separates Americans today. Whether you love America and believe in it, or whether you hate it. You can't be fans of Hannah Nicole Jones and the 1619 Project and the America is a neo-colonialist cisgender patriarchy that is made up of whites who suppress those who have different skin color. You can't believe that unless you hate your own civilization. So, let's go back to Hillary Clinton's speech that was leaked to that group of bankers that she gave, where was it, in Brazil in 2014, where she said, my dream, this is the woman running for the presidency, my dream is a borderless hemisphere, meaning there is no America. I mean, that's the goal.
Wow. Wait, hold on. That was Kamala?
No, that was Hillary. Hillary, a borderless hemisphere. You can find the transcript. It was leaked. She was talking to a group of international bankers, and she said, I dream of one day there being a borderless hemisphere. What does that mean if there's no border in our hemisphere? It means there is no America. And she's not even the ideological one, right? She's not the squad. She's the scion of that political dynasty, but she's not one of the most ideological ones, and she said, my goal is to have no America.
Wow. Here's what you wrote on your Substack. It's not left, right, not even conservative, liberal. It's the dividing line is, are you accountable and live in the real world?
Yes.
Or are you unaccountable and live in an elite bubble isolated from the vicissitudes of the real world? I like the word vicissitudes. What do you mean by that? Who are these peoples?
All right, so this, I give full credit. I had him on my show for an hour, truly one of the most intelligent men I know today is Rich Miniter. He is a Renaissance man, a former investigative journalist, wrote seminal works on bin Laden, on KSM, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, and we discussed this whole theory because he first mentioned it over cigars at his club, and then we discussed it on America First. The political elite are utterly unaccountable, and the real world doesn't affect them. Right? The price of a gallon of gas doesn't matter to the bi-coastal elites and the people who work at NPR and the people who, the biggest problem for them, they can work wherever they want. Their biggest issue is whether they go from 5 bars to 4 bars at the Starbucks when they're writing their next, manual on DEI because they're the head of HR for, Yale or Harvard. That's their biggest problem, the strength of the Wi-Fi signal. They are unaccountable. They have there's no interface between them and the real world. If you contrast that, excuse me, if you contrast that to, a person who actually works with their hands, who actually creates something, like a carpenter, like a plumber, who drives 50, 100 miles a day to get from job to job, when his gallon of gas goes from $1.80 under Trump to $4, he can't ignore that vicissitude. He can't, that's not any relevance to him. He may not be able to put food on the table at night for his children. He may not be able to make that next mortgage payment when his actual cost of physically getting to the place he works increases by 300%. But it's like the evidence is so empirically in your face. Look at just two moments in recent weeks. First, we have the Super Tuesday panel of those harridans of the left laughing about how the exit polls from Virginia state that the Trump supporters who give him an overwhelming victory are most concerned. Their number one issue is what? Is illegal immigration. And then Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, and the famous, homophobe bigot, Joy Reid, they laugh and say, what? Illegal? Why I live in Virginia. Why do Virginians care about illegal immigration? Is it because of their border with West Virginia? Ha, 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 ha. I mean, pure Marie Antoinette. Let them eat cake.
Some of these exit polls, I live in Virginia. Immigration was the number one issue. Again, these could change in Virginia.
Well, Virginia does have a border with West Virginia. Very, very contested area.
Build a wall. Like, what? If you...
Just that cackling. And then Katie Couric with that scumbag skeezer Bill Maher, who just the day before said, what is it with the leftists? Abortion is murder, but I'm okay with that because there are too many humans on the planet. That's the left. That's how in league with the dark one they are. That Bill Maher publicly says, yeah, we're murdering babies, but who cares? That's a good thing. And then Katie Couric says to him, oh, I don't understand these Trump voters. They're just so envious of what we have. Excuse me? They want to feed their children. They don't give a tinker's cuss about whether you have a Tesla or not, or whether you live in Kalorama. They just love America, and they see those who hate America. Juxtaposed to what? I have been playing it every single day. That scene outside the bodega in Harlem, those children, the black kid, the white girl, who just spontaneously, what do? They scream, we love you, Trump, we love you. And then the chant begins. Those children are in families that live in the accountable world, in the real world, where, a tripling of the price of bacon or a doubling of the price of eggs actually means something to them. I know Joy Reid can't tell you how much a gallon of milk costs. I know that Jen Psaki has no idea. She's never, ever pumped gas, okay? The idea that she knows how much gas is, I guarantee she has no idea how much gasoline costs today. That's the difference between the unaccountable bi-coastal elite that listens to NPR and those who live in the real world, where the price of gas and the price of eggs actually matters.
I'm so glad you brought it back to the bodega, because that scene is a very important scene, and that brought everything you said so clearly. Because if you look at that scene yesterday, before you read this article from Dr. Gorka or listened to what Dr. Gorka just said, you would look at that in your brain because you're trying to make sense of what's happening. Like, why? How are people cheering for Trump in Harlem? Like, this, like what's? So you'd be like, okay, well, they're black and Hispanic. Wait, what? They live in a city. That doesn't make sense. Their families probably vote for Democrats and they're probably progressives. My brain doesn't make sense of it. But when you can put it in the paradigm you just articulated of the people who are actually affected by real world things that are happening, like, oh, that appeal then makes perfect sense.
Think of that. You inspired me. That's going to be the title of my next article. Think of that headline. They're cheering for Trump in Harlem. What? the billionaire from Manhattan who was a president for 4 years, and he's being cheered on, and not just by the people, by the children. Can we? When are children going to be cheering for Biden? They're going to be running away from him, sniffing them. Okay? Can you imagine children spontaneously saying, Biden, we love you, as opposed to, Biden, we hate you, can we get out of here? That's the moment, that's the historic moment we're in. And at the same time, can we just connect that to why he's in New York? Because they want to put him in prison. The black and brown people of a crime-infested city that was the greatest city in the world love the man that the establishment is trying to imprison 6 months before the election. These words are coming out of my mouth, but I can't even believe them, Mike.
I think the trial will be to his benefit. And I think him even being in New York City, as he's stuck in New York for who knows how many months, I think if anyone, he could judo move that into.
He does it every day. Every day he comes out of the court. He does jujitsu.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, I'm going to go to the bodega where the guy got stabbed and then got charged with murder. Or no, so he stabbed the guy, but then he got charged with murder as he was under attack and went to Rikers Island. You want to talk about an unjust justice system by Alvin Bragg? Here's an example.
What happened to him afterwards? What happened to Jose Alba afterwards? Do you know what happened to him, Mike?
No.
He left America. He went back to the S-hole country he came from because he said it's safer back there. I mean, isn't that the perfect story of the Biden years? That bodega isn't owned by him anymore. It was the Bodega Owners Association that genius move, invited President Trump to that bodega where that man fought for his life and his property and was put in prison by Alvin Bragg. But that man has given up on America because Biden took over, because Bragg, Soros-funded Bragg, runs New York. He's left America. Is there no clearer story of the stakes involved when a legal immigrant is almost murdered in his own store, is then persecuted by the American justice system in New York, and then says, okay, I'm out of here. This is crazy. I'm going back to the country I escaped from.